Welcome back. It's still Good Morning Abuja, and I hope you enjoyed that background report on patriotism. Talking about patriotism and what defines patriotism, what acts qualify as patriotic acts. I'm being joined in the studio this morning by our very own Kelvin Akoje, the country director for SDG Radio. It's a pleasure having you in the studio this morning.
It's always a pleasure to be here, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Patriotism. This word seems to have a larger than life concept. Is there what exactly is patriotism? Let me start from there. What's patriotism?
I think to understand patriotism, we have to use it. We have to use a background or in context. Largely, patriotism has two basic factors: an individual and then a country. And that individual most times is supposed to be or should be a citizen of that country, or should be affiliated to that country. Because the feelings or actions of patriotism are drawn from your affinity, your knowledge, your understanding of a particular geopolitical area or culture, religion, or some other sense of community. And by virtue of that existence and how you relate to it, either its authority, its influences, its ideas, those are what now are being singled out as patriotism or patriotic acts. So you see someone, you own your company, and then while you are walking to the office, you see a flag of the country outside, or maybe you enter in the reception, you see a flag, or you see the picture of our president, or you see the picture of the local government chairman of that particular area, or your house, you have a flag outside your house, or even as simple as flying your Nigerian local fabrics. Let's use Nigeria in the light of patriotism.
Okay.
So you see someone like the WTO president,
Yes.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, wearing Akara.
Yes.
So she's not shouting, "I'm Nigerian," and writing a label on her forehead, but she speaks, talks, and walks Nigerian. So that is actually a character or a feeling or an action of patriotism. Or in the case of where the government says it begins with you and me.
Yes.
And then what begins with you and me? It means we should be upright in our character. We should be faithful to the constitution of the country. We should be loyal to the authorities and institutions of governance. We should perform our civic responsibility. All that are characters or actions or articles of patriotism.
Wonderful. It's you know. There's let me ask this question. Let me put it as simple as I can.
Okay.
When citizens, say of a country, out of anger for that country, probably like insults the president, denigrates the flag, or challenge institutions as a result of whatever frustration, as was the case as we saw with the Senate screening of one of the nominees for the president's for ministerial position as sent in by the president. Is that person considered unpatriotic? Because there's this raging argument between no, he's not unpatriotic, he's just expressing his patriotism in a negative manner, or no, he's just frustrated with the way the country has been and everything. Should a person be so frustrated so as to probably carry out such acts?
Okay, so we are on national TV.
Yes.
We are not going to bite half of half. We'll just say it as it is, the bitter truth.
Yes.
You are Nigerian. Your passport is green. You are loyal and a subject to the constitution of the country. So whether you are hungry, angry, bitter, rain has beaten you, what the constitution states will always be binding to you, one part. And so if you say you have some level of concerns and you are worried about what is going on, there are laid down processes in which you can express your grievances and not to outrightly come out and burn the Nigerian flag. It's not right. It's a no-no. In as much as we do not have, let's say, so to say, an executive body that if you burn flag, they have their own uniform, they'll come and arrest you and all that. No. But there are other ways in which you can express your grievances or state your preferences, as the case may be, especially in election. If you don't like this person, you vote the other person. But if the election management body has said, come, this is the president, He is the president. He has been inaugurated. Until a time when he ceases to be, he is there occupying that position. And so the office of the president is not just one person. It encompasses a whole lot. And so you need to respect that office, regardless of your feeling or affiliation or your thoughts, your religious sentiments, and the like. So patriotism cannot be watered down. It is what it is. And let us look at advanced democracies. You know, they do not play with institutions and positions of political power or governance, or even public office. Before we even start putting this concept of patriotism to a political perspective, it's not only political, it's cultural, it's traditional, it's religious, it's social. So let's leave the political part out of it. You are here, you are working here. I come to your studio and we are having a conversation, and I start barraging you with insults. On what merits?
Yes.
On what grounds? It's not right. If you have a concern, there's Code of Conduct Bureau, there's ICPC. You file it through the normal way. Or if you feel concerned about something that you think should be brought to the fore, you can write to the National Orientation Agency. It's left for them to pick your ideas or not. And then we go. The whole idea is Nigeria must advance. Her image must be as it is and it should be and should be developed. Yes, you can say, okay, you cannot give what you don't have. And so even in trying to talk about, so even the whole idea of patriotism is even personal. Because aside all these other subsects, if you do not have that peace, joy, happiness inside you, you cannot radiate it to fellow citizens.
That's true.
You cannot even radiate it to trying to understand the constitution or trying to move, as the national anthem says, Nigeria's call, obey. So if you don't have the discipline within you, you will not even want to obey the call. You want to be working in, well, let's say, anti-patriotic manner, if there's any word like that.
Well, let me take it from this other angle. When citizens express patriotism or do acts that are patriotic and this thing, is that the general knowledge of what patriotism should be amongst the majority of, especially Nigerian citizens? Because some people are so comfortable with insulting, denigrating, thinking it is a way of being, of protesting
Expressing their rights.
or not expressing their displeasure.
So, in talking about education in its entire perspective, it ranges from different characters, from the family to the school, to religious environment, to your neighborhood. So, let's take Western democracies again as an example again. In Western democracies, it's an expansive environment. They start teaching their children to be either Democrat or Republican already from the get-go. If we start doing it from now, when he gets and start being studying social studies in school, he will not have a problem trying to understand it. Or he's learning Nigeria people and culture in nursery school, he will not have a challenge. So those are the things that we need to imbibe in, build, and make for a better citizen who will now make up a better Nigeria, and I have to say, for God and country.
Yes, there's so much to talk about when it concerns patriotism. Unfortunately, the time does not permit us to do all that. But, our conversation is always endless whenever we meet.
Sure.
There's so much that we talk about. And that is why I will say very soon we will come back and still delve more, because there's a misconception, or there's a vast misconception, let me put it that way, between what is considered patriotic and what is considered protest. That's for another day. Kelvin Akoje.
Thank you very much, sir.